spring.
I guess
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
what I'm
last time. Yeah.
How's it going? Got to get a fist
Good.
bump in
Yep.
here.
Good. Ladies, sorry I didn't get to dap you guys up.
So they asked me to ask you who the starting quarterback's going to be for the minute.
Is that a question?
Chip has been chomping at the bit to ask you that all day.
Chip is asking Chip.
Yeah, Chip.
That's right. I forgot about that. I'll just say this. We're rotating guys still, all three. And really somewhat sometimes of a reward system, like, based on depth chart, who plays the best the day before. But they're all getting reps with the one still, rotate through. So not really ready to make a decision. Really won't have to. We're still not quite 3 weeks from playing, but I think all three are eager learners. I mean, they study. And if we can limit, some of that even on the field from a standpoint of just mental errors, I think all three have the ability for sure. And I really enjoy being around them, and I think they're all growing and getting better each and every day.
Max said that he'd like to see separation. Have you seen separation yet on the three?
I think it's day to day. I mean, there's some days one will have better than the other. When you look at those three guys, Max obviously has a lot of experience, but at the same time, here at Carolina in our offense, he's not the most experienced. And anytime you change schools, terminology is different, some concepts and so forth. Connor has an advantage there for sure because he's been here with me a year, and then Jacoby's come in the summer, and really, for the short time he's been here, it's been really amazing to see how he's grown, understanding terminology in the offense. When he went to Arkansas, I think they had a coordinator that just, when he got there a little bit later, leaves. They hire another coordinator. Okay, he gets them through part of the year, and then now they had a third coordinator. So he's learned really 4 offenses in probably 18 months. And so anytime you do that, I think there's some transition. But the guy's really talented, and really all three of those guys are talented enough. And, I'm excited to have 3 guys like that in the room that can really play.
With Connor and Max in particular, have you seen, I guess this is your 10th practice, have you seen through 10 practices what you were hoping to see from them based on the reports, the conversations you had at the end of the spring?
Yeah, after spring, you have your exit meetings and you say, hey, these are the things I think you should improve on or need to improve on. And each one of those 3 guys really, even though Jacoby was kind of, from afar trying to ask him about what things he needed to work on himself, but those 2, what I saw this summer is they both did things together as leaders together and got the receivers together and worked. And then with the times we were with them in the summer, you can just see it. I think competition's good at every position. It doesn't matter if it's linebackers, defensive line, or O-line. You got guys that can play and compete. And you have that competition. I think that pushes each of them every day to be prepared and be ready to go.
Can you identify maybe with Max and Connor one specific thing that they're doing much better now that you addressed with them that they needed to do better?
I think Connor's a much more accurate thrower. I think he's improved in that. The work he's put in to get his body in the right position every time he throws, because I think obviously he has a great arm. He can really throw it. But sometimes his body was out of whack some, and Clyde's done a great job helping him with that, and we've really pushed him to work on these things. Stay balanced. Don't fall off. Don't be out on your front foot. Stay back. And he's really worked hard on those things. I think those things are paying off, and I think it's a continuous thing to keep improving each and every day. And what I like is he's really pushed himself to try to improve and not just stay the same. And we asked him to do that. He's a great kid, and he's doing a good job.
And Max?
Yeah, Max, with Max, I think for him, it was still just pocket presence, being able to understand where his drop needs to be. He's a big kid. He's 6'5", similar to Drake, so sometimes he could get a little deep. So it was good to see him understanding, hey, in this protection, this is where the O-line thinks you're going to be. You're going to be around, 8.5, 9 yards. Now this one, you're going to be about 7 yards, and making sure that his feet are in a good spot. I think his footwork's really improved. And that's something I think that we asked him to do out of spring.
Chip, along those lines, just to follow up on what AJ's saying real quick, when you say pocket presence with Max, does that mean holding on to the ball too long sometimes?
Oh, no, I don't mean that. What I mean is understanding like each play, depending on the protection, is the depth. The O-line thinks the quarterback's at a certain depth because it changes the way they set. In other words, quick game you set a little firmer, right? So you don't anticipate the quarterback being really deep. That way they can be firmer because the ball should come out. In drop back, what we call big drop back, he's going to be deeper in that 8.5, 9 yard range, making sure that he's never in that 10 yard range on those. So and then when we're doing any kind of naked or something like that, making sure his pass right because we're protecting in a certain way. So all those things are important. And then we have a gap scheme protection that we want to make sure that he's not slid too far toward the kick out. So all those little things are the details is what I'm talking about, a pocket presence.
So you talk about rotating those guys still into the first team, even, kind of the reward system based on how they do each practice. How different is the dynamic when it's 3 guys rather than 2 guys? Because most of the time it ends up being a 2-man race.
Yeah, definitely adds a little bit to it for sure. But we were committed to doing that and are committed to doing that, especially early in fall camp until we start getting ready for a game and stuff. So I think that's we were upfront about that. Coach Brown was he's wanting this team to be competitive each and every day, and we've got more depth now. So I think we can do that in all the positions, and I think that's what you can see as a unit and as a group and as a team, that with more depth you're able to have better competition and rotate guys and keep guys really motivated.
Moving away from the quarterback position for a second, offensive line has been a hot topic of conversation throughout fall camp and the offseason as well. I know Max talked a lot about how he thinks that group is going to be improved from last season. A lot of new guys down there, a lot of guys that have played little to no football here in North Carolina. So what tangible things are you guys seeing that makes you guys maybe believe that it will be improved?
Well, really, if you look at it, we lost 4 starters there, so that's always when you lose that many guys, and we had a 1,500-yard rusher and breakthrough for a bunch of yards and all that. So that O-line did a good job last year. What we were talking about is just being able to have a room that's gelled together. Okay, those guys, when I got here, and Coach Clemens, the O-line coach, third O-line coach in 3 years, and we had some older guys, Corey Gaynor and all those guys, and they're great. They were great for me and all that. But at the same time, now we brought a group of I think we signed 4 transfers plus a few freshmen and plus our returners, and then now you're trying to build that unit. And one thing I will say is I think those guys have bought into each and every year is a new year, and that room has a whole different personality now, and then the guys that have come in, the Austin Blaskys, the Jakais, the Howard, and then Greenberg, all 4 of those guys, what I've been impressed about is they've come in and gelled. They didn't start here, and that's a tribute to, I think, the kids we have here too, accepting them and understanding that, hey, it brings some competition to that room, but hopefully it can help improve that room. And we're really pushing those guys to get our best 5 on the field, but we really need 8 to 9 guys to really make it through a season, and that room's really competitive. Randy's shuffling those guys around and trying to find the right mix for us.
Willie Lampkin says there's a lot of guys in that room with a chip on their shoulder, because they've come from other places, sort of coming through the side door, a lot to prove. How does that kind of help them come together when they have that chip? And the guy to the left, right, has a chip, the guy to your left has a chip. How does it kind of work in their favor?
I think that's a good point. Willie would say that for sure, right? He came from Coastal Carolina and last year, and he did. He came in on a mission and to play physical and be who he is. And what I think is healthy to have that edge, to have that chip on your shoulder. You can take a guy like Zach Greenberg, comes from a small college. Even way back in my career, we've had other guys transfer from smaller places and become all conference players. And Zach, and it's a big adjustment for him. All of a sudden, he's lining up across from some of the better players in our league. So it's a big adjustment. Howard is huge. You look at him, he's 6'8", whatever he is, 340, but he's still a young player. I think he's 19 years old still. So he, his experience is not near as much. He's very talented. I think a really no-brain future, NFL player. But at the same time, experience is not there yet. So. But to answer your question, I think part of that is the kids that are here too. Accept and understand we want to win football games. The better players we can get in here and create a competition in that room, the better we're going to be.
You talked about depth too. You're hopefully getting to 8 or 9. Do you feel pretty good about the depth down there right now, or what does that look like?
Well, we'll see. We haven't played a game. I do. I like what we're seeing down there. I think we are getting to where we're going to feel better about 8, hopefully 9 guys. They're tough guys. I will say that. They don't miss a lot. They come to practice. They're there every day. They fight through things. You play in a line, you're going to be bumped and bruised all the time. So I like that room. Hopefully we can get to 8 to 9, even 10. Hopefully, but for that to happen, we'd have to have a couple of young guys come over.
I was going to say, you lose Gaynor. Just talk about how important it was to get a player like Austin.
Oh,
to come in and fill in.
Losing Corey Gaynor, you saw it in bowl game. I mean, that guy makes every call at center, right? He does everything. So him doing that for 2 full years and playing at a high level, that was a tough deal to replace. I also think having Austin come in, who comes from a good program with some experience, the opportunity for him, he wanted to come make his own path, and I think he brings an edge to that room. He brings a maturity to that room, a work-like attitude every day. He's smart. He understands football. He understands what we're trying to do. Again, we count on him to get us in the right IDs and the right protections and so forth, along with the quarterback. So it's really a comfort to have him and an older guy like that, and also a good player.
Just to be clear on that, Chip, when you say that O-line room has a different personality, what's the personality?
Well, I think every year, what I meant by that is we got different people. When you lose as many as we lost, especially starters, the personality will change no matter what. Could be good, could be bad. Yeah. What I see is a unit that's hungry. I really do. They understand that we've got a pretty good tailback room, and that we have to be able to be physical in the run game. and then also protect our quarterback, you know, and Max is an older guy. Connor has played some already, so those two guys, even though they're, you know, Connor's extremely athletic, you know, Max is a big guy that can see, but at the same time, we have to be able to protect both of them. It doesn't matter. You know, Drake did some things last year that made some plays for us off schedule, and, you know, we want to make sure we show up our protection. And I think those guys are just hungry, I guess, is the best way to say it, you know.
How much can an offense be running back led in 2024?
Well, I think we were that last year. Drake got a lot. You know, the year before, Drake threw for probably more yards, but he was also the leading rusher. So we just kind of shifted that a little bit and let our running back be the leading rusher, and it worked out good for us. Omarion stayed healthy, which was one key to the whole thing, and then, you know, took some of the running away from Drake, the called runs anyway. He took off and made some himself. But I think for us, we understand that as a football team, you have to be able to run the football to be successful. If we can run it effectively, then I think it helps open up the throw run. Go ahead.
And just on that note, I mean, Marion obviously, you know, had a great season last year. That would be an understatement, right?
Yeah.
What, if anything, have you seen him just do to kind of take his game to another level?
You know, it's a great question because he's really quiet. He doesn't say a whole lot. Y'all know that. He's just a workman-like attitude. We had a live period going the other day where we were about to start a live period, live tackling, and you know, he's not going to get much of that. And really, to be honest with you, not any of it. So, you know, he's over hiding in the huddle. So I'm behind calling play. So I'm up there, hey man, get out. He don't want to get out. You know, he's that kind of guy. He wants to finish every run through the goal line, and that's a problem in practice because I'm wanting to go maybe tempo the next play, and he's way down here. So he just has a workman-like attitude. I can't just, you know, I've never been around a player that's as talented and had the most success that he's had, and just be steady every day. I think that's what he is. He's very grounded, just a great kid, and has great work ethic. And that's why I think he'll play for a long time. He's just, and not to mention all the physical things with him. He's a big back that's got speed, so catches the ball well. But I like it. I like the way he approaches every day. No drama, just workmanlike attitude.
Chip, another guy coming into that room, just Darwin Barlow. I mean, can you share with us just how happy he is and grateful?
Man, I tell you, he's a great kid. He came in and really has just gelled in with that room. Very mature kid, very humble, no ego, just comes in, understands, you know, what we need from him from a standpoint, you know, we need to have another two backs, kind of be able to step up. Losing British and not having that, and Omarion obviously is going to get his, but we need that room to be deep because things happen during the season. It's a physical game, and just can't say enough about Darwin and how he's coming here. And, you know, we kind of knew. I knew some people at USC, some buddies of mine, and even TCU where he was before, and they all said great things about him, and he was a no-brainer for us. Go ahead.
Chip, how much have you had to adjust the playbook going from Drake, you knew you were going to have as your quarterback going into last season, versus a three-horse race, as you've said, with guys who have
I hadn't adjusted really any at all. I mean, just I think our playbook, we hope, is versatile. It can fit any type of style that our quarterback fits. You know, so I think for us, you know, it really comes down to, you know, how do you create explosives? That's what we're trying to do, okay? And no matter how you do it, throwing it or running it, that's what your goal is. Be good on third downs, and we were good on third downs last year. Got to keep working on that, and that comes down to being able to throw and catch it, you know, and eliminate, you know, lost yardage plays, turnovers, penalties, TFLs. You know, those are always important. And then I think after that, you got to be good in the red zone. And last year, statistically, we were good in the red zone, but this is a whole new year. We got a whole new team. So I haven't changed the offense, so to speak, at all. Maybe you focus on certain things with different guys, but, you know, you want to keep the O-line. You don't want to confuse everybody. You know, you can't all of a sudden just create a new offense based on, you know, just because this quarterback or that quarterback. You have to have the ability to be versatile. And I think that's what we've tried to always do, is build a versatile offense and build around the strengths of our players. And that's all the way back in high school. When you don't get to pick your players, you have to do that. So I think the offense is, the guys that were here last year, I think they're very comfortable with it for sure.
To that point, though, Chip, as you're standing here on August the 10th or whatever date it is, if you're playing to your strengths as an offense, does this offense have to be Omarion-led because he's your best player?
Yeah, I think Omarion, no matter, he could be on any team in the country, and you lean on him. I believe that. He is the best running back in the country, in my opinion. So, I mean, we'd be dumb not to run the football. We want to do that. When Coach Brown hired me, that's what he told me. He said, I want you to run the football better and not rely on everything with Drake coming back and so forth. And we tried to do that, trying to do what he asked us to do, and thought we did a solid job of that most of the year. And, you know, but you have to, in third downs, you're going to have to be able to throw and catch it. And that's what you got to do, because people are going to load you up and so forth. So, you know, I think for us, you know, Omarion is a huge piece of the puzzle, but we have to have other players around him. Our tight end room is very strong. We like those guys. In the wideouts, if you think about it, going into South Carolina, Lonnie made this point the other day, every single wideout that we have had for that game, they're still here. Now, you know, what does that mean? I don't know. They all got to be healthy and they all got to, you know, be ready to go and so forth, but because Tez wasn't available last year, right? So, you know, that makes you feel a little better. But at the same time, you know, fall camp's a long deal, so we got to make sure we get everybody through it healthy.
On the receivers,
Yep.
you know, UNC's had that #1 guy for like the last 5 years with the DeAndre and Josh and Tez last year. Is there a guy in that room that you can see kind of stepping into that top lead role?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think Bryson brings a lot of versatility because he is a tight end, but he's that hybrid guy you see a lot. I think at the next level they can flex out and be a one-on-one matchup and play in the slot and also play in the backfield. I think Nate's got a lot of experience. Obviously, he started off great last year and got banged up a little bit, so he's looked great. And then you got several guys. J.J. Jones is a factor. He's a veteran guy that's played a lot. He brings a whole nother element. You got Gavin Blackwell. You got a lot of guys that have some reps. And what we need is, like you said, have that guy that establishes himself as our #1 guy. And I think that's what we're trying to find out here in fall camp.
With how close the quarterbacks are, Chip, and just the varying starting points in their experience, could you see a world where the quarterback battle extends into the season, is kind of ongoing in a way?
You know, I think you never say never. I mean, when you decide, somebody's got to go out there first, and then whoever's out there's got to play well, right? They got to move the offense. They got to affect the other 10 guys in a positive way. And you know, that thing, you know, not everything is always on the quarterback, so to speak, but we need a guy that can go out there and make good decisions, not turn the ball over, and really make plays for us in the passing game. And I think anytime you have a good competition, you know, the competition really never dies, right? I mean, the guy goes out there and plays well, great. If he doesn't, then, you know, you got to do something to ignite your team. And we hope we don't have that issue at all, but we do feel confident in all three of those guys.
Max played 2 quarterbacks before in the past, here and at Texas.
Yep.
I mean, have you ever done that in your career? And
you know,
just like to have that one guy, obviously like that one guy. Can you see yourself playing 2?
You know, if that helps us win, I think we would. I mean, you know, I haven't personally been a part of that, maybe in high school one time, but you know, coach has done that, I'm sure, in his career. So, you know, I think at the end of the day, we want to win. That's the most important thing. I'm not caught up in anything but that. And whatever we need to do to win, we'll do it. And the good thing is, I think we have 3 good options, and however that plays out, and then we'll be all in on that. And then you always have to be ready to adjust from injuries, from different things. And when you were at Arizona State, I played 5 quarterbacks due to injury, so you just don't know. You have to have everybody prepared and ready to go.
So
Coach,
one
going
name
back-
that's kind of come up a good bit is Zach Greenberg. I know you touched on him.
Yeah.
You know, other guys have brought him up. Him coming from that Division III level, has he kind of, I guess, surprised you at all with how he's progressed?
Yeah, you know, he moves really well, and he can snap the ball, and that's important for us. We want him to be able to play center guard. He's very, very athletic, a guy that put on weight after he got into college. You know, I think he's still learning about ACC play and being able to be physical on every down. He's blocking some probably better players than he's used to. And also he's learning our system. I think that was, you know, he didn't get here till the summer. So I like his progress. We hope he can continue to develop and really play a role and be one of those 8 or 9 I was talking about.
Have you seen him kind of getting bigger since he's got, I know he mentioned wanting to go up.
You know, I think he's 300. You know, I don't know how much bigger he needs to be, but I don't know what he weighs. Jeremy might can tell you, but a little
He
over.
told us 300 a couple
Yeah,
weeks
I think
ago.
he's around 300. And, you know, right now that's what he needs, focus on being understanding what to do, great technique, great fundamentals, and you know, probably if he's here a full off season, that'd be when you'd really try it if you wanted to put on some weight. And right now, just try to maintain. Right, it's hot. You're going through camp, so I like him though. I like his progress. He's a tough guy, no drama, doesn't say a whole lot. Pretty smart guy too. So far so good with him.
Coach, going back to your receivers,
Yeah.
how have you maximized kind of the potential of your already experienced players versus developing your younger players?
Yeah, I think that's Lonnie Galloway is the best in the business. He's proofs in the pudding. Every guy I think he's graduated from here has got a shot in the NFL. So I think he does a great job of making those guys learn spots. We try to teach concepts and not plays. Hey, this concept is this concept's that, and that way they can play multiple positions, and that allows us some flexibility where we can move guys around. And I think Lonnie does a great job of that. In his career, I think he's always done that. And what we've got in that room is some really good young players that are pushing the older players. And that's going to help us build some depth down the road as you go through a long season.
You got scrimmage.
How much did the weather affect you the other night when you all scrimmaged, if at all?
No, I didn't.
And can you maybe break down some of what you liked? Who jumped out to you? What you saw? Just how did the scrimmage go for you guys? How did you grade it out? Just your assessment of it.
I think some good and some bad. We had too many,
same thing.
you know, in my mind, too many pre-snap penalties, just things here and there with communication. Not all, you know, the O-line gets blamed every time they jump offside. Sometimes it's not all their fault. And communication's a key to what we're doing. Just too many of those, too many self-inflicted wounds. We did some really good things, and we really trying to focus on running the football. Like a lot of times on scrimmage, you're going to scrimmage and say, hey, we're going to really try to establish this run or that run or whatever. And that was a good night to do it. It was raining, but that didn't affect us at all. And I think there were some good things we got out of that. Coach moved the ball around, gave us a lot of different areas on the field to work, which is always good. And it's nothing scripted, so therefore it's just like a game. And our players hear the substitution and have to be on the field at certain times for certain substitution groups. And it gives me a chance to go up top and call it from there. So all good stuff. I think we got two more maybe, or one more, and then I'm up. And then anytime you can simulate the game, but nothing's like playing for sure.
Did you answer any questions?
Yeah, you got time for two more.
Did you answer enough questions going into the scrimmage, and do you come out of it with questions maybe you didn't?
Yeah, I think we had some, you know, we talked about that O-line depth, okay, and I think Randy mixed in a couple guys with the first group, and it's like, okay, can this guy be our guy at X position or whatever it is? And then some things you said, yep, I think he can. And then there might have been a couple, no, I don't think he's ready yet. So, and when you're mixing in young players, I think that's what you get. Yeah. Sometimes you got a young player that looks great against the second group. You get him in there with the first group, and maybe not so much. And it's nothing against them. They're just young players trying to still develop.
You talked about Willie earlier, and he's talked about how he wants to be a lot more vocal and just taking on more of a leadership role.
Yeah.
I mean, you see him out here just putting in extra reps. Like, what has he done so far in this off season? A little bit maybe more of a leadership role.
I think being more vocal is probably what I've noticed the most. He's a new guy last year with an older offensive line, like 5 or 6 seniors, I think, maybe 4 or 5. And therefore, maybe he wasn't as vocal probably as he is this year. I think we've challenged him and asked him to do that. He's on our leadership council, and that's one of the things Coach Brown's really emphasized this year, having those guys truly be the leaders of our team. And I think he's bought into that. He's more confident now. He knows he can play at this level. All those things, I think, go into his role as a leader on our offensive line.
Chip, that sort of mixed bag that you mentioned of the scrimmage, is that sort of par for the course usually, just in your experience of the first scrimmage?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, neither one of us are really game planning for each other. We're just trying to, okay, who's our identity? What are we going to be? Let's put it on film so we can grade it in a scrimmage situation. And you know, I think that's really our goal coming out of a scrimmage is, you know, because we're worried about trying to beat Minnesota. At the same time, we're trying to figure out our team first, where the pieces need to go, where they fit the best, and the scrimmages help answer a lot of that, because a lot of the scrimmage is tackle, right? So now you get to see backs, not thud. They can actually break tackles and have runs that maybe in the thud period is blown dead, you know, and trying to take care of guys, and that's part of it. So scrimmages are always revealing for sure.
All right.
All right.